Hey, Menopause Metabolism Makeover Group. I wanted to come to you guys today to talk about metabolism. So one of the major limiters at which there are a few big factors in what limits our metabolism, and of course the endocrine system runs the show. So what can we do? And one of those like main contributors can be our hydration. So the rule of thumb is always drink half of your body weight in ounces in water each day, plus what you would lose during sweat. So if you're exercising or if it's summertime and you're sweating, maybe you sweat out a half a pound or a pound during an exercise session, you want to add that on. 1 pound, 16 ounces, 1 pint, in it goes. One of the reasons why I really do like this is because when we talk about metabolism, anything that is involved in the metabolism, if it runs short, becomes a limiter. So you can imagine, like, let's say you were going to make, some cookies and you only have a certain amount of flour. When you run out of flour, you're going to run out of your ability to make cookies. So the same thing kind of goes for metabolism, right? So you know what, let's back that up because flour is the main component here. I want to do a better analogy. Let's say we only have a certain amount of eggs, because that's usually a limiter in the house, right? So we only have a certain amount of eggs. The recipe calls for eggs. We want to make as many batches as we can. When we run out of eggs, now we run out of cookies. We have all the rest of the stuff. We have the flour, we got the salt, we have the sugar, chocolate chips, we have all of those things. We ran out of eggs. That will be our limiting factor, okay? Water can be your limiting factor when it comes to metabolism. So let's think strongly as the weather starts to get a little bit warmer near me. If you're in the northern hemisphere, potentially your weather is already warmer if you're in the nearer to the equator. But if we can get our hydration, our metabolism will start to pick up. The other bonus of being well hydrated is temperature control. So some of us may recognize that when your hormones, you're kind of doing some things, it might, as a byproduct of whatever that signal is, it might be like, no, you're freezing. Oh, no, you're sweating, right? So we may have these temperature fluctuations, and when we're better hydrated or properly hydrated, our ability to buffer temperature changes becomes better. So we may not be able to always stop these, hot flashes or periods of cold, but we can do things that will help us to regulate them. So if you're like, they drop and they're up here, maybe we can just bring that in, and that can make things a little bit more tolerable. So as the weather starts to warm up and maybe we start to move around a little bit more, let's focus on hydration. Water, anything really that's a liquid that does not contain caffeine. I've got my caffeine right here. Taking a sip. Oh, because it is so good. Even Scooby agrees. So caffeine is a diuretic. It will pull water out of your system, right? So we think of that as a negative. So let's say I had 6 ounces of coffee. Those 6 ounces, even though I put 6 ounces of water in and dripped it through those beans, the caffeine that is now contained in the liquid will draw fluid out of my body. And so it becomes a negative, right? So we can't really count that fluid. It's about like a 1.2 factor. So I probably need to make up about 8 ounces for the 6 ounces of coffee that I drink, okay? So keep yourselves hydrated, enjoy the better weather, and enjoy better temperature regulation.